Welcome to another edition of Boulder Talk with AVC. I am your host, AVC, and today, as I stated last week, we have a very special guest. Mr. Seth Cantor has been joining us for an interview today. Seth, if you wouldn't mind, again, thank you very much for joining me. We'll just give a little bit of background on yourself for the viewers that maybe aren't as familiar with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've had parallel careers. So I've been in corporate sponsorship sales now for about 15 years. I've been with the Boulders for 10. And I'm also a sports update anchor on WFAN, CBS Sports Radio, WCBS 880, and Sirius XM. So I've been pursuing two dreams, I would say, over the course of my career. And like I said, each one carries different responsibilities, but I certainly enjoy both.
So you recently got promoted, I think, last year, correct? Was that the VP of Business Operations? Was that last year or?
Yeah, I've been with the team. So I've been with the team since its inception back in 2011. I've actually left and come back, and I've risen from account executive to corporate sales manager to assistant general manager to vice president of business development. But I got to tell you, I don't get too wrapped up in my title. I've always thought that people who flaunt their titles probably aren't qualified to have their titles, if that makes sense. So I just look at myself as a contributor to the team more than anything else. I like it here because it's a small business where I can have a large impact. I've worked for big companies, and a lot of times in big companies, you're just a cog in the wheel. And what I enjoy about working with the Boulders is the fact that it's local. I'm from this area. I grew up in Rockland County. And to me, being a part of an organization where your ideas are valued and you can have an impact on the direction of the team, that's why I've stayed. That's why I've been here for so long.
Obviously, the big change with the Boulders this year is the move to the Frontier League. Can you speak more on what that truly means for the organization?
So yeah, the six Can-Am League cities are now part of the Frontier League, and we have 16 teams. And those teams are from the St. Lawrence Seaway out in Canada all the way out to the Ohio River. And what's great about the Frontier League is the fact that you have teams that are close to major cities, and the fact that these teams do get exposure in markets like New York City, Chicago, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Pittsburgh. That's a strong point for this league. It's the longest running independent league. It's been around since 1993, and it's the largest independent league in the country. We also just announced that the Frontier League is a partner league of Major League Baseball. So we're not connected with a team per se. I get that question a lot. Well, what team are you affiliated with? We're not affiliated with the team, but what we can do now is cross promote with Major League Baseball and create youth programs and use their logo, obviously, in the ballpark, which is a very powerful logo. Anytime you can be associated with Major League Baseball, that's definitely a plus. So we have a partnership, and the other part of that relationship too is now we're going to be using Major League Baseball statistical services, meaning it's going to be easier for Frontier League players. And there are other leagues that are partner leagues with Major League Baseball too. Those leagues now will be easier for players on those teams to be signed by major league clubs. And I think by us being so close to New York City, there are a lot of scouts in this area. So I think it makes it more palatable from that standpoint. The other part of the Frontier League that's unique to other leagues is we have an age cutoff, which is approximately 26 years old. And we're getting players that are on their way up. And the talent level in this league is very, very strong. More than 1,000 players in the Frontier League have been signed by farm clubs, and just about 40 players or maybe more have actually gone to the big leagues.
Sticking with new changes in the organization, I believe it's the fourth manager of the New York Boulders.
TJ has a good background. He was in the minor leagues for years. He was a very good player. He's actually managed the Three Rivers Eagles, like Aigle de Trois Rivières. And he was a successful manager up there, young guy. And I'll tell you what, I mean, TJ has really worked very hard over the first few months that we've had him here. He's gone out and he's signed more than about 30 players. Not every one of them is going to make the team, but he's very hard at work scouting. And I'll tell you, you look at the way things work in our type of league, the manager has to be the general manager. So, we have a general manager here, we have a team president, but at the minor league level, at the independent league level especially, the manager is the general manager, so he's going out and he's selecting the players. He's doing a lot of the scouting. We do have a scouting staff here that does a lot of research, and they hold tryouts for players that have been not only in the big leagues but affiliated ball. We have invitation tryouts, whatnot. It's a very extensive operation, but yeah, I mean, we have a lot of turnover on our roster, and to be in a 16-team league where only a handful of teams make the playoffs, you really have to know what you're doing. So TJ has been very aggressive in going out and trying to put the best team on the field.
So speaking of all the turnover on the roster, I've noted that in the past in a few of my podcast episodes how new this roster is. Is there anybody we should particularly keep an eye on that might be exciting heading into this season?
I'm still getting to know the players like you are more than anything else. We have a couple of local players, and we have players that have made it as high as double A, triple A. So as opposed to a couple of names that I might be able to give you, I just think you look at these guys and they have a good mix of talent. They've been as high as AAA, and the major league release list just came out. And we're looking at a couple of potential former major leaguers who have played in the bigs. Again, not necessarily your household names, not necessarily names that you might say, oh, I know him, but at the same time, players that have been in the big leagues and have played there for a couple of seasons. So we have a very nice mix of players. And I think over the course of, the first few weeks, you're going to get to know some of these guys, and you'll see that they're going to make an impact more than anything else. We're excited to have them here.
Now, with the partnership with Major League Baseball, the MLB just announced that they were going to be using the minor leagues to test out a lot of the new rule changes that they want to see potentially in the future. Is that going to impact the Boulders at all, or probably not?
That's still to be determined. So that relationship has been more in the Atlantic League than anything else. The Atlantic League has really been a testing ground for Major League Baseball's new rules. I haven't heard much about the Frontier League being a league where we would test out those rules. I think anytime Major League Baseball wants to have a connection with you and approaches you about doing things that might benefit the game, you certainly take a listen. But as far as TrackMan, which is the automated umpire, and then the bigger bases and whatnot, those aren't things that we've been approached on. But if Major League Baseball does approach us, and if it helps get more players into the big leagues and gets us more notoriety, it's something we would certainly consider. I would say though, the Atlantic League, which is certainly a bona fide independent league, they're one of the most well-known independent leagues out there. That's been the league that's really been the testing ground. But if they were to approach us, I'm sure we would certainly take a listen.
So, big thing with minor league baseball last year with the pandemic. Now, unlike professional baseball, where they get a lot of their money from TV broadcast rights, minor league baseball is, I'm assuming, more reliant on fans actually coming to the ballpark. So, how did the pandemic affect not only the Boulders but minor league baseball in general last season?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of teams that just didn't operate last year, and it was a matter of dollars and cents. The way we saw it, we have new ownership here. We have well-capitalized ownership here, and we're very, very lucky to have that. The way we saw it, and my boss, Sean Riley, put it best, we felt like we had a social contract with the fans in Rockland County, Bergen County, and it was really incumbent upon us to have a season and to do something. So what we did was we had a recreational league. We reclassified the venue as an arts and entertainment venue. We didn't pay the players. And we had a recreational league that we played on weekends, Thursdays through Sundays. And players came out here and played for the love of the game. Each ballpark had two teams operating out of it. One team was the team that usually plays in the ballpark. We called the team the Rockland Boulders last year, not the New York Boulders, because we want to launch the New York Boulders when we can have something close to full capacity, which we hope will be this year. And we played games on weekends from July until September. And we did it, Andrew, because we felt that even if we we're going to be in a situation where we lost money last year or had trouble making money, and only a few hundred fans could come out per game, we wanted to stay relevant in the community, and the community's been good to us over the course of our 10 years here, and we wanted to give something back. So it really wasn't about the bottom line last year. It was about doing something positive and productive for the community. That's why we did it. Now, this year, our plan is, even though we haven't gotten guidance from New York State yet, major league venues, professional venues with 10,000 seats or more can open at 10%. We're under 10,000. We're at about 6,000. We haven't gotten guidance from the state yet, but what I'm telling our corporate partners, because we do feel that the situation's getting better. We're hoping that we can start the season at 25%, which would put us at about 1,500 fans. So, we're working towards that point. We're planning as if we're going to have a normal season. We're going to start on time, even with capacity restrictions. We expect our season to start on May 27th and go until mid-September.
All right, that's great to hear. So, really, just a final question here. Again, all the changes, all the turnover, the new manager. What's the expectation for the Boulders as a team this year?
Well, it's interesting because we do fan surveys every year, and 70% of our fans tell us that they come to the ballpark for other activities, not just the team. So they like the fireworks, kids run the bases, we do the giveaways. For the 21 and over crowd, we have dollar beer night. But, we're in the New York market here, and I've always been a big believer that in the New York market, no matter what level you're at, whether it's independent, affiliated, major league, you have a very sophisticated fan base here. And that fan base expects you to win. I remember when we were an expansion team the first couple of years and the team struggled. The corporate partners would know. They would come to the game, and maybe the product wasn't as competitive as it could have been because we were building it. It takes time, but the expectation is to win and get to the playoffs, and TJ knows that. TJ is here to win. He's building a team. He's been very aggressive going out and signing players. So, the expectation, obviously, you want to win a championship every year, but the expectation is to finish above 500, get into the playoffs, and let the chips fall where they may. And I think TJ is definitely working hard towards getting the Boulders into that situation. So we're excited to see what he's done.
All right, that's all I got. Thanks, Seth. I really appreciate you coming on.
Was that? Yeah, happy to help. And thank you for having me, Andrew. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much, Seth Cantor. And that'll be it for today. Another edition of Boulder Talk with AVC. Thank you all very much for watching. Please check out my other videos if you have not. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Go Boulders.